Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. Today we're going to go over transfer. Transfer from one vessel to another vessel. Whether it's wort, wine, must, cider, whatever it may be, we're transferring from one to another. The goal, especially with beer, is to avoid oxygen. Once it's been fermented, you don't want oxygen. So before we go into this, as I do these transfers all the time, I don't focus a video just on the transfers. I focus on the brew, and a lot of things I skip forward or fast forward. So don't forget, like, subscribe, share. I want to thank everybody for the huge amount of subscriptions we've been getting, and the support and all the sharing of the videos to friends and fellow brewers. Definitely appreciate it. Truly appreciate it. Thank you again. Let's get on with the video. This is going to cover this product. It's basically one of many transfer pumps out there. It's not designed for high temp. It can do decent temps. I forget what the temperature range is, but it's pretty decent. This thing sells for about 75 bucks on, I believe it's Northern Brewer or Midwest Supplies. Same basic company, two different websites. I think they have a third website too. I think Austin Brewer or something like that. But either way, I picked this thing up around the holidays last year for 40 bucks. And at $75, it's a great value. At $40, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I was happy to grab one before they were sold out, so yay for me. If you haven't bought one and you're looking to get something like this and you don't need it tomorrow, maybe watch during the holidays. We'll see, if they drop it again as it was what I call a doorbuster sale or whatever you want to call it, but I did snag one. Let's get on with the brew. Did I say get on with the brew? Get on with the transfer. So this thing has an on-off button, power brick. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. It's even got an arrow telling you which way the liquid's going to go, but you don't need to worry about that because you know it's going to come in through the wand. Okay. What I do each day, I go to use this, and when I finish, I clean it. But before I use it, I clean it again, just in case a little dust, dirt, whatever may have gotten on it, it's sitting on a shelf for a few days or even weeks. I take this into the kitchen. I put as hot of water I can get out of the tap. I crank the pump on in a bunch of Star San water. Basically, just follow the directions on your Star San. But according to 5 Star, who makes Star San, it only takes about 2 minutes of contact. So I usually run it for a couple minutes. And that's it. It's a self-priming pump. I do it again afterwards with hot water, rinse it out. Yes, I know you no rinse Star San, but I rinse it out. Now, what you're going to see is when you do this, and you have a connector like that on the end, you see there's a little bit of air in there, which you may or may not be able to see with the camera, but there's a little bit of air. Don't worry about it. I promise you, don't worry. Once you know the thing's full of water, the water is going to reduce the amount of air in there. We're going to go over to our carboy or whatever we have our liquid in. I didn't put any in this one, but just per se. Move this out of our way. You can grab a regular keg that's empty. You can grab a little keg, whatever you got. It doesn't matter, just as long as there's nothing in it, or at least nothing you want to drink. And you're simply going to take this, put your disconnect on here. Take your disconnect. Put it on your keg. Virginie air. Now when you're doing this too, and for this one not so much, you just need to make sure that you're letting the air out either by constantly pulling the thing or putting something on here. I have this. This is from Duo Type. It is basically just an air disconnect, and it's got a little ball floating on a spring, and if the liquid shoots up, that ball hits the hole and seals it. It prevents a bunch of liquid from squirting out the air side in case I'm putting 5 gallons in a 1 gallon container or something like that, putting 6 gallons into a 5 gallon keg. That's all you need. If you're getting a little fancy, you're gonna need a Spundit valve, either a Duo Type Spundit or Spunding valve 2.0 or Spundit, which is where the name comes, where I keep saying Spundit, it's from this. This is made from a gentleman on eBay. Great little device. Controls it, you get it bubbling, it's just so you can see what's going on. It can be used for fermentation. It can be used for what I'm going to show you to use it for. We'll get into that here in a second. So the first thing you want to do is all you have is water in here. Nothing special. You're going to put this in your carboy. and you're gonna turn it on. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna start pulling your wort, your cider, whatever you have, through here. It's gonna go all the way to the end, and as soon as you see the color change down here, because you only have water, water's clear, it hits here, you know the thing is full of whatever liquid. You're gonna turn it around, take this, pop it off, pause technically, because normally I'd have this set up. You grab your keg, which you've already purged the CO2. Remember, when you're purging the CO2 and you're filling this from your kegerator or wherever you're getting your CO2, CO2 is heavier than oxygen. So the oxygen will rise and go out. If you don't get it all out, don't worry too much because the CO2 is still going to be heavier. You're going to be putting the liquid in from the liquid line, which goes to the bottom and pushes the CO2 up and the oxygen out. Again, you want to move this, put it over here on your air. It'll let some air out. If you've watched some of the videos, if you're a subscriber, you've definitely seen the videos. I put this on here. It lets the last of the CO2 out. So this is full of liquid. There's no air in it. I put it on. I turn my pump back on. I hold the wand. Once it starts getting towards the end, I do tip it. Most people are used to that, even if they're doing auto siphons. And the liquid will pump right through. If you're seeing that, it's because I replaced the hose. The original hose started changing colors even with cleaning it, and hose is cheap. I just need a little sturdier hose. It does come with a nice sturdy hose. So now your keg is full. You're done. I mean, it is the simplest thing. It massively reduces oxygen. I still purge a little bit. I still recap a little more CO2, purge again, just to make sure I feel good about it. And then either you're doing one of two things. Either you're putting it into your kegerator, or you're putting it somewhere to dry hop. So let's say you finish dry hopping. Well, you're not gonna need this transfer anymore. I mean, you could use it and put 2 disconnects on both ends, but honestly, there's an easier way. You don't need to do that. I mean, you want the right tool for the right job. And it's all nice to use that when you need it and when it benefits you. But when you're transferring from keg to keg, sorry, spilled a lot of water, just figured I'd clean it up now than later. Move this out of the way. This is where the Spundit 2.0 or the Spunding 2.0 comes in handy. So let's say your beer is over here, it's been dry hopping for a week, and you want to move it over here so you can cold crash it, throw some gelatin on it, and get it carbonated so you can drink it. Well, if this has been dry hopping and it's under pressure, you're probably sitting somewhere around the 5 psi. Maybe 7. I got lucky. Mine was at 7. You don't want to use this because what's going to happen is when you put it here, you start transferring that wort. It's going to transfer so fast, there's a good chance it's going to foam up and start coming up or even bubbling out, and this little thing won't seal because it's not liquid, it's just bubbles. But what you want instead is all you want to do is have a difference in pressure. So if I take my CO2, I put it on here, let's say I'm doing between maybe 10 psi. This is under 7 psi. What I'm gonna do with either the Spunding 2.0 or the Spundit 2.0, which is a really nice setup, stainless steel and everything, is I'm gonna lower this and set this to 5 psi. And of course, you're gonna already have purged this, make sure it's clear, put a little extra CO2 on it. You want it to be maybe around 7 to 10 pounds, so you can ease it down to 5. Well, now you're at 5 here and you're at 7 here. You can use the little connects. I got the Duo Tights again, just because it's easy. I like easy. Easy's good. They're plastic, they're cheap, they break, no big deal, I replace them. You put this on both sides, you put your CO2 on here, your pressure is lower over here, higher over here. What's gonna happen? The liquid's gonna go up, over, and down. And this is gonna fill up. Once it fills, you'll know this will start bubbling because there's nothing but foam left. You basically either disconnect one of these ends to stop it, disconnect the air so it has no more ability to flow, or disconnect the pressure over here. Just disconnect something. And that's it. I mean, I know it looks a little fancy sometimes and I go through it a little fast, but that simple ability reduces the amount of air and oxygen massively. And I do mean massively. I used to do something and I've seen some other people doing it. Don't do this. It's, I wouldn't say dangerous unless you're really crazy. They'll put it on here. They'll hook up a wand through this piece and they'll pump CO2 in here. or vice versa, CO2 through here and put the wand in here, and use the pressure going down to push the beer out. It seemed like a great idea. I tried it. I was using tape, everything to keep this thing from popping off, because every now and then it'd go boom. Yeah, don't do it. I mean, if you put too much pressure, you could probably break this. The transfer pump is so simple. It's not that expensive. Even at full retail, it's not that expensive. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you didn't fully understand and I need to, try to maybe do something a little better, let me know. Been throwing up different old games just for nostalgia purposes. But thank you again for joining us here at Bitter Reality Brewing. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. And thank you again massively for all the support we've been getting from all the fans for the channel. It's been huge and greatly appreciated. I am a little procrastinating because I'm a little gun shy, but I am working on a contest. I just gotta pull the trigger and pick the right company to help kind of run it. And then we'll be announcing that and doing a little bit of giveaways. If you're subscribing, you'll know about it. If you're not, I'm sorry. Hopefully you catch it at the right time. But subscribe, that way you don't miss out. Thank you again.